Have you ever wondered what happens after we die? I mean, not just philosophically, but how ancient minds imagined it. Sometimes vividly, sometimes, well, terrifyingly.
It's a fascinating question, isn't it?
Absolutely. And today, we're taking a deep dive into one of the maybe the most iconic journey into the afterlife ever conceived, Odysseus's harrowing descent into the underworld. This is all from Book 11 of Homer's Odyssey.
Right. And our mission really is to navigate through all that mist and shadow and sort of pull out the insights, the surprising encounters, and maybe the big questions this ancient text raises about life, death, destiny, all of it.
And for this deep dive, our main source is a direct translation of excerpts from Book 11 itself. You've provided the material, and we're ready to unpack it.
Okay, so setting the scene. Odysseus hasn't just wandered into Hades. He's deliberately sailed to the absolute edge of the world, the limit of the deep-running ocean.
Right, to the sunless land of the Cimmerian people.
Exactly. It's perpetually wrapped in fog and cloud.
Yeah.
You know? The text paints this picture of a glum night spread over wretched mortals. Not exactly a holiday spot.
Definitely not. So, okay, he gets there. This isn't like just knocking on the door. He has to perform this really specific ritual to summon the dead.
Meticulously specific. He starts by digging a pit, just a cubit square. Then he pours in these drink offerings, these libations.
Boy, are they, again, it's like a specific order.
Yeah. First honey mixed with milk, then sweet wine, then water.
Yeah.
And he sprinkles white barley over it all.
Wow. Okay.
And he's making promises too, right?
Yeah.
Vowing sacrifices for when he gets back to Ithaca, specifically an all-black ram for Tiresias, the prophet he's come to see.
It feels very formal, very serious, like you can't just show up.
Absolutely. It signals the gravity of crossing that boundary between life and death.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the key part, he slaughters sheep over the pit.
In the blood. That's the lure.
That's the lure. The dark clouding blood, as Homer calls it, attracts the souls, the psyche, and the description of the crowd that gathers is just wild.
Yeah, tell us about that. Who shows up?
It's everyone. Brides and young unmarried men and long-suffering elders, virgins, tender, and many fighting men killed in battle, still in their bloody armor.
So ghosts of all kinds.
All kinds, yeah. And they swarm, making this inhuman clamor. It's overwhelming. Odysseus himself is filled with what the text calls green fear.
Green fear, like sick to your stomach terror.
Exactly, that kind of visceral, draining fear. And the very first soul who manages to get close enough to speak is quite poignant, actually.
Who is it? Not Tiresias yet.
No, not yet. It's Elpenor, one of Odysseus' own companions.
Oh, right. The guy who... Wasn't he the one who fell off Circe's roof? Kind of an embarrassing way to go for a warrior.
Pretty much, yeah. Blundered off the roof, drunk, broke his neck. Not exactly heroic.
Yeah.
And his first thought, his plea to Odysseus, is all about his body.
What does he ask for?
He begs Odysseus, remember me. Go back to Circe's island, find my body, burn it with my armor, build a burial mound Acema by the sea.
So people will know he existed.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And plant his oar on top so that those to come will know of me, an unhappy man. It's incredibly important to him.
And Odysseus agrees.
Readily agrees, yeah. And this, right here, tells you so much about the ancient Greek mindset, doesn't it?
You mean about burial?
Yeah, the absolute critical importance of proper burial rites and remembrance. It wasn't just about hygiene or tidiness. It was essential for the soul's peace and for your memory, your kleos, even if it's a humble one like Elpenor's.
So without that proper burial, he's just sort of stuck, flitting around unhappily.
That's the implication. It's fundamental. Interestingly, though, even before Elpenor gets through, Odysseus actually sees his own mother, Anticlea.
His mother? She's dead. He didn't know.
He didn't know she had died while he was away. It's a shock. But even overcome with grief, he has to hold her back because he hasn't accomplished his main goal yet. He needs to speak to Tiresias first. So, grimly, he prevents his own mother's shade from drinking the blood until the prophet has had his turn.
Wow. Duty over personal grief. That's rough.
It really is. But it shows his determination. And then finally, Tiresias appears.
The main event. The blind prophet of Thebes.
The very one. Holding a golden staff, instantly recognizable. He drinks the blood, recognizes Odysseus immediately, and doesn't waste any time. He hits him with a pretty stark warning.
Which is?
Basically, your homecoming. Yeah. It's going to be hard, forget sweet. Poseidon is furious with you for blinding his son, the Cyclops Polyphemos.
Okay, so that encounter is still echoing. Makes sense.
Absolutely. And Tiresias then lays out this incredibly detailed conditional prophecy. It's like a roadmap with dangerous crossroads.
Conditional how?
He says they might still make it back, Odysseus and his crew, if, and it's a big if, they can control themselves, contain their own desire when they reach Thrinakia.
Thrinakia. That's the
Yeah.
island with the sun god's cattle, right?
Exactly. The sacred cattle and sheep of Helios. If they leave them unharmed, they might get home.
But if they touch them...
Then it's destruction of your ship and your companions, explicitly stated.
Oof. Okay, what about Odysseus himself?
Even if he survives that, Tiresias says he'll get home, but in bad case, having lost everyone and significantly in someone else's ship, not his own.
So he'll be broken, alone, and reliant on others.
Pretty much. And the troubles don't end there. He'll arrive home to find insolent men eating away your livelihood and courting your godlike wife, the suitors.
So the prophet sees everything, even the situation back in Ithaca.
Everything. And even beyond dealing with the suitors, there's more.
Seriously, what else?
After he's restored order, Odysseus has another journey to make. He has to take his oar, his well-shaped oar, and travel inland.
Inland, but he's a sea captain.
Exactly. Travel so far inland that he reaches people who know nothing about the sea. People who eat food that is not mixed with salt.
How would he know he's found them?
The sign is clear. A passerby will see the oar on his shoulder and call it a winnow fan, a tool for tossing grain. They won't even recognize it as an oar.
That's oddly specific.
It is. And at that exact spot, he must plant the oar in the ground and make a specific sacrifice to Poseidon, a ram, a bull, and a boar pig, presumably to finally appease the sea god.
Wow. Okay, so a whole other quest after he gets home. And then, does Tiresias say how Odysseus will finally die?
He does. He says death will come from the sea, but paradoxically, in some altogether unwarlike way.
From the sea, but not warlike. What does that even mean? A boating accident? A giant squid?
It's famously ambiguous, but it will happen when he's old, in the ebbing time of a sleek old age, and his people will be prosperous around him.
So a peaceful, if slightly strange, end eventually. It's incredible, though, a prophet from the land of the dead laying out his entire future, right down to the manner of his death.
It really underscores that Greek sense of fate, doesn't it? Destiny. But with those crucial conditions Tiresias mentioned, it also suggests, that your choices, your self-control, they still matter in navigating that fate.
Right. Okay, so Tiresias gives his prophecy and departs. Now Odysseus can finally talk to his mother.
Yes, now he allows Andiclea to drink the blood, and the recognition is instant. She cries out, basically asking, "My son, how did you, while still alive, manage to come down here to this awful place, this fog and the darkness?"
He must have so many questions for her.
He does. He immediately asks how she died and what's happening back home. How are his father, Laertes, his son Telemachus, and crucially his wife Penelope holding up?
And what does she tell him? Is Penelope okay?
She reassures him about Penelope, says she waits for him with enduring heart, though she's wasting away with weeping. Telemachus, she says, is now grown, administering the lands, attending feasts, acting as a man of authority should.
That must be some relief. What about his father, Laertes?
Ah, that's sadder. Laertes has basically retreated from life. He lives out on the farm, grieving. In winter, he sleeps by the fire with the servants wrapped in rags. In summer, he sleeps on piles of fallen leaves in the orchard, just consumed by sorrow and longing for Odysseus.
Oh man, that's brutal. Just picturing old Laertes like that. And how did Anticlea herself die, did she say?
She did. And it's incredibly moving. It wasn't illness, she says, nor was she struck down by Artemis's gentle arrows, which was considered a peaceful death for women.
So what was it?
It was longing. She says, essentially, my longing for you, Odysseus, for your cleverness, your gentle ways, that is what took the sweet spirit of life from me. She died of a broken heart, waiting for him.
Oh, wow. That's heavy. The weight of his absence.
It is. And Odysseus, overcome, tries to hug her. 3 times he tries to embrace his mother's shade.
And he?
No. 3 times she just flutters out of his grasp like a shadow or a dream.
Like trying to hold smoke.
Exactly. And she explains why. This is just what happens when mortals die. The sinews no longer hold the flesh and bones together, the physical body decays, but the soul flitters out like a dream and flies away.
So the dead are insubstantial, truly ghosts.
Completely non-physical in this
Ugh.
depiction. She tells him not to grieve over this, but to hurry back to the light and remember everything he's seen and heard so he can tell Penelope later.
It's such a raw, emotional scene. It really gives you a glimpse into, well, the power of family ties, but also the Greek idea of the soul after death, elusive, untouchable.
A powerful sense of loss and the ultimate separation death brings. So after Anticlea, Odysseus follows Persephone's lead, or perhaps Tiresias' instructions. It's been ambiguous,
Mhm.
but he allows other famous women, wives and daughters of princes, to come forward one by one.
Right. He lets them drink the blood so they can speak truthfully, and he asks each one who she is.
Exactly. It becomes this sort of parade of heroines from Greek mythology, like a quick tour through famous family histories, often tragic ones.
Who are some of the standouts?
Well, there's Tyro, who fell in love with the river god, but Poseidon tricked her by taking the god's form.
Yeah.
She bore Peleus and Neleus, major figures later on.
Okay. Who else?
There's Antiope, mother of Amphion and Zethos, the founders of Thebes. Alcmene, mother of Heracles by Zeus. And then, Epicast.
Hippocast. Is that?
That's Jocasta, mother and wife of Oedipus or Oedipides, as Homer calls him here. The text is blunt. She did a monstrous thing, marrying her son who'd killed his father. The gods revealed it, and she hanged herself in sorrow, leaving Furies to haunt him.
A very condensed tragedy.
Yikes, definitely condensed. Any others?
Chorus, who married Neleus and was the mother of Nestor, Odysseus' old comrade. Leda, mother of Helen, and the Diasteri twins, Castor and Polydeuces.
The twins who share life and death live on alternate days.
That's them, living every other day, one on Olympus, one in Hades. Then there's Iphimedia, who bore giant sons to Poseidon, Odos, and Ephialtes, who tried to pile mountains up to attack the gods but got killed by Apollo.
Kids these days, trying to storm heaven. Right. And Ariadne, famously abandoned by Theseus, killed by Artemis. And Eriphyle, who betrayed her husband for gold.
Hmm.
It's a real who's who, packed with divine affairs, tragic choices, hubris. The works.
It really puts Odysseus' own struggles into a wider mythological context, doesn't it? Seeing all these other fates.
It absolutely does. It grounds his story in this vast web of myth and consequence. Now, at this point in telling his story to the Phaeacians, Odysseus actually pauses.
Right, because he's narrating all this later, safe on Scheria.
Exactly. He pauses, and King Alcinous and Queen Arete, his hosts, are just blown away. They praise his story, his eloquence, his mind well-balanced.
You're hooked.
Completely. Alcinous says, look, we'll give you even more gifts, make sure you get home safe, but please stay one more night. Keep telling us this amazing story.
And Odysseus, ever the smooth operator.
He agrees, but cleverly notes, hey, staying longer means arriving home with even more treasure, which is definitely an advantage. He knows how to play the game.
Always thinking, okay, so he resumes the tale for them. Who does he encounter next down in Hades?
The shade of Agamemnon comes forward. The great king, leader of the Greeks at Troy.
Oh, this is going to be grim. His homecoming was not good.
Understatement of the year. Agamemnon recognizes Odysseus, weeping, and tells him the whole sordid story. How he wasn't killed honorably in battle or even shipwrecked, but murdered.
By his wife, Clytemnestra, and her lover, Aegisthus.
Right, in his own hall during a feast. Agamemnon says it was like being butchered like an ox at his manger. Utterly ignoble.
And his wife was complicit.
Deeply. He calls her sluttish and says as he lay dying, beating the ground, she wouldn't even do him the final courtesy of closing his eyes and mouth, just turned away.
Brutal. And does he have any advice for Odysseus?
Oh, yes. Bitter advice. He warns Odysseus basically, don't trust your wife too much, don't tell her everything you know, tell her some things, but keep secrets.
Wow, that's direct.
And then he delivers the kicker. There is no trusting in women. Full stop.
Yikes. Especially hearing that right after Odysseus heard from his own mother about Penelope's loyalty, that's quite a contrast.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really highlights the different ways women could be perceived, the loyal Penelope versus the treacherous Clytemnestra. It adds this layer of tension for Odysseus' own return. Will his wife be faithful?
A chilling thought for him, I'm sure. Who's next after Agamemnon?
The big one. Achilles, the greatest warrior of them all.
Achilles. What's he like in the underworld? Is he ruling the dead?
Well, that's what Odysseus assumes. Achilles comes up, recognizes him, and asks why on earth Odysseus would brave coming down to Hades, this place of senseless shades, mere imitations of life.
And Odysseus tries to cheer him up.
He does. He says, Achilles, you are blessed in life, and surely you rule with great authority down here among the dead. He tries to console him.
And Achilles' response.
Probably the most famous line in the entire Nikuya, the descent story. Achilles basically says, "Don't you dare try to console me for dying, Odysseus."
Wow.
He says, and this is iconic, "I would rather follow the plow as thrall a serf or slave to another man, one with no land allotted him and not much to live on, than be a king over all the perished dead."
Whoa. So he'd rather be the lowliest living farmhand than rule the entire underworld.
Exactly. It's this profound statement about the value of life itself, any life, however humble, over the emptiness of death. Even a glorious death like his, existence itself is paramount.
That's powerful. Does he ask about anything?
Yes, he immediately asks about his son, Neoptolemus. Is he fighting bravely? Is he making a name for himself?
And Odysseus has good news on that front, right? Neoptolemus was a hero at Troy after Achilles died.
He does. Odysseus gives him a glowing report, tells him how he personally brought Neoptolemus to Troy, how the young man was wise in counsel, second only to Odysseus and Nestor, and absolutely fearless in battle, always at the front.
He mentions the Trojan horse too, doesn't he?
Specifically mentions his bravery inside the horse, how while others wept or trembled, Neoptolemus showed no fear, just eagerness to fight.
How does Achilles react to hearing about his son's glory?
He is overjoyed. The text says he stalked away in long strides across the meadow of asphodel, happy for what I had said of his son. His son's Kleos, his glory, brings him joy even in death.
So pride persists. What about other heroes? Does he see Aias?
He does see the soul of Telamonian Aias, Ajax the Greater. But Aias doesn't approach. He stands apart,
Still angry about the armor.
still holding that grudge.
Yeah.
Angry because Odysseus won the contest for Achilles' armor after Achilles died, a judgment Aias felt was deeply unfair and led to his own death by suicide.
Does Odysseus try to talk to him?
He tries. He calls out to Aias, acknowledges the grief the whole Greek army felt for his loss, comparing it to their grief for Achilles himself.
Yeah.
He basically says, "It wasn't my fault. The gods willed this disaster upon us." He tries to reconcile.
And Aias.
Gives no answer, just turns and walks away into the Erebus, the deep darkness. His anger is unconquered even by death.
Wow. So these powerful emotions, grief, pride, anger, they really linger in the afterlife in this vision. Death isn't a clean slate.
Not at all. The shades retain the core of who they were, their passions and their pains. It's quite a psychological insight, really.
Okay, so after the heroes, does Odysseus see anyone else notable?
He does. He catches sight of Minos, the legendary king of Crete, glorious son of Zeus, still holding his golden scepter and issuing judgments among the dead, like a judge in the afterlife.
So some kind of order or justice system down there?
Seems like it. He also sees the giant hunter Orion still doing what he did in life, pursuing phantom beasts across the asphodel meadow with his bronze club.
Still hunting. Okay. And then, aren't there some famous figures being punished?
Ah, yes, this is where it gets really vivid visually. He sees three classic examples of eternal torment.
Okay, let's hear them. Who's first?
First, Tedios, a giant, stretched out over 9 plethora that's like 9 acres, pinned to the ground.
9 acres. Why? What did he do?
He assaulted Leto, the mother of Apollo and Artemis, as she was traveling. So his punishment is 2 vultures are perched on him, eternally tearing at his liver, and he can't fight them off.
Yikes. Okay, eternal liver pecking. Got it. Who's next?
Tantalos, experiencing eternal frustration. He's standing in a pool of water up to his chin, dying of thirst.
But he's in water.
Right. But every time he bends down to drink, the water recedes, vanishes into the earth. And above him, trees hang heavy with luscious fruit pears, pomegranates, apples, figs.
Let me guess, he can't reach those either.
Nope. Every time he reaches up, the wind tosses the branches just out of his grasp. Eternal thirst and hunger with relief just inches away is where we get the word tantalizing.
Ah, makes sense. Okay, Tichos, Tantalus. Who's the third?
Sisyphus, enduring pointless, unending labor. Odysseus sees him struggling, with hands and feet alike, to push this monstrous boulder up a steep hill.
The famous boulder.
The famous boulder. He strains and sweats, heaves it almost to the very top. And just as he's about to crest the summit, the force of gravity, or as Homer puts it, its own brute weight, turns it back. The stone bounces all the way down to the bottom again.
And he has to start all over.
Has to trudge back down and start pushing all over again. Forever. The sweat poured down his body and the dust rose from his head.
Man, those images are powerful. Liver pecking, eternal thirst, pointless labor. What does it all signify? Divine justice.
It certainly seems to represent divine justice for specific transgressions against the gods, assault, hubris, maybe betraying divine secrets in Tantalus' case. But they also resonate psychologically, don't they? The feeling of being consumed by guilt, the frustration of unreachable desires, the crushing weight of futile effort. They're potent metaphors.
Definitely. Does he see anyone else? Any other big names?
He sees one more major figure, or rather the eidolon, the image or phantom of Heracles.
Heracles, but isn't he a god now on Olympus?
Exactly. Homer makes that distinction. The real Heracles is feasting with the immortal gods and his wife Hebe. But his phantom, his image representing his mortal toils and suffering, is down here in Hades.
Huh. So a part of him is still connected to the underworld.
Apparently so. And this phantom Heracles recognizes Odysseus, calls him unhappy man, and kind of commiserates, asking if Odysseus is also pursuing some wretched destiny like Heracles' own life of endless labors imposed by a lesser man, Eurystheus. He even mentions his own trip down to Hades to fetch Cerberus, the hound.
Wow, even Heracles felt his life was a wretched destiny. That puts things in perspective.
It does. And after seeing Heracles, Odysseus starts to feel, well, overwhelmed.
Can't blame him. He's seen a lot.
Yeah, the text says, hordes of the dead men gathered about me with inhuman clamor. The sheer number of shades pressing in becomes too much. He's struck again by that green fear.
And he worries something worse might come.
He suddenly gets terrified that Persephone, the queen of the underworld, might send up some gorgonish head of a terrible monster, like Medusa from the depths.
Time to go.
Absolutely. Panic sets in. He quickly orders his men back to the ship. They cast off the mooring lines and they row frantically away, letting the current carry them out of the river Oceanus and back towards the world of the living. His tour of Hades is officially over.
What a journey. We've basically gone with him, haven't we? Through this incredibly detailed, sometimes terrifying vision of the Greek underworld.
We really have. From Elpenor's simple plea for burial to Tiresias' chilling prophecies, Anticlea's heartbreak, Agamemnon's bitterness, Achilles' defiance.
Right, and those unforgettable images of Tantalus and Sisyphus. It's this rich, complex tapestry of human drama, divine judgment, and what it meant to be dead or alive for the ancient Greeks.
It's so much more than just a ghost story, isn't it? This deep dive into Odysseus' Nicaea really opens a window into how a whole culture wrestled with these huge, universal questions. Mortality, justice, how we want to be remembered, fate versus free will.
Absolutely, it makes you think. So for you listening, what stands out the most, what you find most surprising, or maybe even most resonant about this ancient Greek vision of the afterlife? How does it stack up against other ideas about what comes next? Maybe even your own? Something to ponder.